All right, so welcome everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you. Can you believe that we are halfway through our course already? One of the reasons why I love to play music at the beginning, and some of you even shared that you have students pick their own songs, and you can play music on Fridays, or during think time, or just chill time in your classroom. And this is a link that talks about how general music is also social and emotional learning. Music is one of the life's most important survival tools. It nourishes us, it gives us hope, helps us heal, and gives us the strength to keep going even in the toughest of times. And last week we talked about how music can really elicit so many feelings. Same thing as food, elicit so many feelings and so many memories. Tonight's agenda is we're going to talk just about a little bit briefly about some takeaways. We're going to watch a short 3-minute video from the AIR research on an equity lens. We'll talk about the implicit bias modules that we'll be working on this week for our assignments. And then we'll break into groups to review the promoting equity using SEL. And there are guiding questions that go along with every single SEL competency from CASEL. And they're really great discussion questions. I wish we could address them all, but you'll have a chance to select the one that you want to address in your breakout session. If you've seen the announcements, give me a thumbs up. Okay, you can also use the reactions button. We have a special guest speaker today. Her name is Bonita Gura, and she is our library liaison, and you're in for a great treat. We don't always have our library liaisons come in and give us a real-time demonstration, so this is really wonderful to have them here because we do have recorded videos on how to use ProQuest and how to use EBSCO and all of the incredible databases that we have that are vetted. They have scholarly research articles and journals and so forth. So we're going to talk about scholarly article searching strategies, and then if you would like to have a research question appointment with me in week 4, I'm happy to do that. I do have every third Saturday of the term, I have a coffee coaching and conversation that is a sign-up Saturday. And as you surmised from the message that I sent, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to join you in the room on Saturday, but I found that people weren't showing up. I was having a party by myself, and I thought that it would be best if we would have sign-ups. So this Saturday, there is a sign-up. There will be in the class, but it's open to everyone who's currently in the program. And what we do is we talk about action research. We talk about how to conduct it, what you're going to need when you get to research methods class. So it's really an open time for me to meet 20 minutes with each of you who sign up. And it is also a time for if you wanted to just pop in and listen, you can really learn a lot from others to find out where they are in their action research stage or cycle. Okay, our weekly objectives. We're going from the inside out, looking at our personal, social, and emotional learning, examining relationships, and we'll do a lot of that during our breakout sessions. And most importantly, we're focusing on the connection and the intersections between SEL, implicit bias, and equity. And we're also going to see a visual that talks about equality, equity, and justice. And we're continuing to ruminate and brainstorm and really think about what we might want to research as far as culturally responsive classrooms. That's only part of it. If you have a classroom and you have a huge diverse population, it might be something that you want to consider, but you'll learn more about culturally responsive teaching and a culturally responsive classroom in 605. And Dr. Moore is going to be a rock star teacher in that course. So the recap, and if anyone wants to take the mic or type in, what's a takeaway that you had from last week?
One of the things that, hi everyone. One of the things that I was, it was just like this amazing moment when we talked about like one size does not fit all. And it was this common, I see this a lot at the high school levels where, there's these brilliant ideas for maybe the lower levels or even the younger high school. But I work with juniors and seniors particularly, and it just didn't ever seem to fit. So just the acknowledgement that we still have a lot of work to do um, was just really kind of just hit home. And I thought, yes,
Mhm.
like, we're starting to talk about stuff that really applies
Mhm.
to what I see daily.
Yes, thank you, Julian. And thank you to everyone really for being so open and candid with your reflections for the PLC. Not only does it provide me with a snapshot and get the pulse of where you are in your understanding of concepts, it's a wonderful formative assessment tool. But it also really lets me know what kinds of topics you're interested in and how you were able to analyze and really think about what we were talking about during our PLC, our previous week's PLC.
Dr. C,
Yes.
I found that examining my own community and my school and the equity, I kept coming back to sports when kids try out for sports and the influence of community members and the influence of families on kids making the team or kids getting kicked off the team and how certain things apply to some kids and certain things apply to other kids. And in my community, I need everyone to understand we culturally, we're all pretty much cut from the same cloth where I'm at. We're either Baptist, Methodist, or Catholic. We're mostly white. We all speak English. Unfortunately, there's not a huge diversity in that respect. So diversity in my area comes with the hierarchy of poverty and wealth and
And privilege.
privilege. So when you have privileged children going to summer camps and playing basketball at these camps, and you've got kids who don't have that opportunity, it's hard to compete, to get on these teams. And I'm all about giving every kid a fair chance. But then again, I'm also about you got to earn your spot. So
Mhm.
somehow there has to be, in my perspective of evaluating what I'm doing, there has to be some kind of a way to make this an equal opportunity, an equal playing field where a kid with crappy sneakers gets the same opportunity and the same chance as a kid coming in from a week at UMaine at a basketball camp. And it bothers me when parents, you know, I saw this in hockey too. I'm a hockey mom, big time. They think they're going to play for the NBA or, they think they're going to play for the NHL. And I get it. I was there, but I want to believe that I didn't uh, degrade or put down a kid that didn't have the opportunities that mine did. And don't get me wrong, my kids didn't have every opportunity either. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this class is making me not jumble one big SEL into diversity of cultures, and because we don't have a diversity of ethnicity, but to somehow put them into appropriate categories that fit where I live. And it's becoming an eye opener.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that you mentioned sports because um, that's a huge topic that we could spend weeks up on because how many of you have either had kids or students who didn't make the team? I personally didn't, when I tried out for cheerleading, I didn't make it because I couldn't have my arms straight out. I had I have trick elbows or something. I don't know. But anyway, it was devastating. But you know what my gym instructor did? She made me a gym leader because I was very good at some of the gymnastics. And so that was an equitable solution. May not be the same thing. And then I also became the wrestling mascot. So anyway, I'm so glad you said that. You know, I think back to about music. Music, if you don't make first chair, if you're a violin, or you're, you know, you're playing third string, or you're, you know, these are just all things that we want to think about in the hierarchy of how people see us and how we fit in.
Well,
So,
I was second chair clarinet, and I should have been first. And yes, I'm blowing my own horn. I should have been first. However, the girl I sat next to, very influential parents, not that they banged on the music teacher's door and said, put my kid in first chair. They didn't have to. It was understood.
mhm,
You know, it was understood that that's where this kid goes. And
mhm.
it's unfortunate. And I see it happening more than once. Anyway, sorry about that.
Thank you, Sherry. I know you have a lot to share. You have a lot to say. Um, Moving forward, if you have some thoughts or ideas and you want to type them in the chat about our takeaways from last week, please go ahead and do that. But we have a very short video from the American Institutes for Research, commonly known as AIR, or yeah, AIR, because they don't put the F in for four. And this is Jamila Conway Turner. She is a researcher, and she's going to tell you a little bit about equity and using an equity lens.
We know that all children develop social and emotionally, but we also know that there are a lot of systemic barriers or inequalities like poverty that affect children's social emotional development. Social emotional learning, also known as SEL, is the process through which children or adults they learn specific skills like managing their emotions, interacting with others, resolving conflict, and communicating. Focusing on equity and social emotional learning is important because it's an issue that a lot of schools and districts are grappling with right now. And they're both trying to understand how to develop social and emotional initiatives and at the same time trying to help serve all of their students equally. When you're dealing with children, you want to make sure to focus on all students' strengths and all students' differences to ensure that all students are developing socially and emotionally. Educators can ask themselves certain kinds of questions to help them ground SEL into equity. And those questions include things like, how can I differentiate my instruction for students? Where are my students coming from? And where might there be some systemic barriers? AIR has a lot of work in the area of social emotional learning and equity. So for instance, SEL Solutions is where AIR works with schools and districts to.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the record or stop the video right now. Because she's really promoting what AIR does. And it is a nonprofit, it is an organization, and they do some exceptional work in the area of equity, as well as a lot of SEL work. And Dr. Nick Yoder, who is our scholar in residence, who is working for Harmony and Inspire, other division of our company, of our university, he also worked as a researcher at AIR. So a couple of the key words that resonated for you. I heard poverty, Sherry. I heard, what else did you hear?
I heard children and adults.
That's right. And we have to remember with those concentric circles that the community is on the outside. And we start with SEL from within. So there's lots of other, she speaks very quickly. It looks like the cuts were done very very succinctly, but she has a lot to say, and there's a lot to say about this area of equity. So this week we're going to be talking more about bias, implicit bias, and I have a video from a division of National Public Radio. It's called Point of View, and let's go ahead and watch that. Listen for what the definition is of implicit bias.
Implicit bias.
Implicit bias.
2016 was the year that implicit bias went somewhat mainstream.
Yeah, so when Hillary Clinton mentioned implicit bias in the debates, our phones started blowing up, all our friends started emailing us about it.
But what is implicit bias? Implicit biases are basically thought processes that happen without you even knowing it. Little mental shortcuts that hold judgments you might not agree with. And sometimes those shortcuts are based on race. First, some clarity. Saying someone has an implicit bias is different from calling someone a racist.
The word racist is a highly loaded term, right, here in American society. A lot of times, when people are using it, they're thinking of the kind of old-fashioned Ku Klux Klan style racist.
But implicit bias isn't anywhere near that, explicit.
Implicit bias is something that comes out of ordinary mental functioning, out of how the mind normally works.
We've all grown up in a culture with media images, news images, conversations we heard at home, our education. Think of that as a fog we've been breathing our whole life. We'd never even realized it, what we were taking in.
And that fog causes associations that lead to biases.
I somehow know that if you say peanut butter, I'm going to say jelly. That's an association that's been ingrained in me because throughout my life, peanut butter and jelly are together. And in many forms of media, there's an overrepresentation of Black men and violent crime being paired together.
And because of that, I actually deep down inside have been taught that Black men are violent and aggressive and not to be trusted, that they're criminals, that they're thugs.
With all those associations, I'm not trying to let us off the hook, but in some ways, none of us stood a chance.
Starting today, we'll post a video a day dealing with one challenge of understanding implicit bias.
Okay, and I highly recommend you diving in deeper if you work with young work with older children. Okay, someone needs. Sorry. Okay. All right. If you work with high school students like Julie does, or if you're working with adults and you want to unpack this a little bit more about implicit bias, possibly even have them take the survey or the modules that we're going to be taking this week, you can find out much more information about this at POV.
And its relationship to race and exploring ways we might combat the problem.
Okay, let me go ahead and remove that. And implicit bias, we all have it. And we'll have an opportunity to talk about some specifics in just a moment. I wanted to give you a sneak preview of what you're going to be learning more deeply in 605. And there is, from the New America group, there's 8 competencies for culturally responsive teaching. Not going to go into all of these, but I do want to make sure that you do have them as a reference so that you can take a look at it and possibly even use it for an ARC. Who knows? So, how many of you have seen this graphic before? Yeah, this is a pretty common graphic. Gretchen, you've seen it. Sarah, you've seen it. Okay, and this really exemplifies the difference between equality, equity, and justice. And when you look at the term diversity, equity, and inclusion, this kind of falls into the same category. Equality is you assume that everyone benefits from the same supports. It's really dangerous to make assumptions. Equity, everyone gets the supports they need, and this is the concept of affirmative action, thus producing equity, where everyone is equal. And I'm not talking about socialist communities and talking about making sure that everyone is getting the same amount of food. Although that is an ideal, it's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, everybody gets the opportunity to stand up and see the game, the soccer game. And the justice picture is all three can see the game without supports or accommodations because the cause of the inequity was addressed. And the speaker from the AIR video talked about systemic barriers, and you'll hear about that. Systemic barriers can be associated with wealth, can be associated with a culture that you're from where A's and excellence is required, is it's the only way that there is. So we'll continue to talk about this. And what I'd like to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on the handout for activity and make sure that everyone has it. I'm going to put the PDF in the chat so that people can download it. And Benita Gura is coming in at about 5:30. So we're only going to have about 5 minutes to look at some of these things. I'd like to start off by saying I would like to model and do one. Self-awareness. Can you recall times or events in which your identity, race, ethnicity, social class, status, or gender were made obvious or important to you? Wow, what a question. Can you imagine Julie sharing this with your high school students? Think about that, and I'm sure they'll be able to recall something. One of my earliest recollections is when my mother was divorcing my father in 1964. I was treated very differently because I was the child of the divorcee, and she got kicked out of the Catholic Church, and so I was that dirty girl from the divorcee. So, we all have memories, we all have experiences where we have felt that our identity, race, social class, or gender were made obvious to me, and also some of the racial bias or bias or even exclusionary practices that were done based on a particular systemic belief. All right, so the way this is going to go is, and hi Benita, we're just going to take about a real quick, I'm going to go ahead and ask for 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and go till 5:35, and I'm going to go ahead and put everyone in breakout rooms, and there we have.
Remember to turn off the recording.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, we're going to have 4 breakout rooms, and I will flash a couple of notifications, but you get to select any question in one of the 5 SEL competencies for you to discuss. And we should have no more than 4 people, maybe 3 people, maybe 2 people, excluding me, in the different breakout rooms. We have 11 people online right now. So let's go ahead and make it into 4. All right, Benita, you're actually going to be allowed to participate. We welcome your participation and have some courageous conversations here. Remember, this is a safe zone, and everything that we say is meant to be kept in confidence, as well as to respect each other's opinions and conversations. So 1, 2, 3. I'll come back at about 5:37.
Just a brief intro. I'm the education librarian for the School of Education. So whenever you have any questions or anything, I will be the person that you will contact. So first I'm going to address the annotated bibliography. So you may have had in one of your handouts that you can use Academic Writer to create an annotated bibliography. And Academic Writer is the electronic version of the APA publication manual. So you can also use it to help you figure out what the rules and guidelines are to format your paper according to APA guidelines. And we do have a workshop on that, so I'm not going to go into too many details about it, but I'm going to take you to Academic Writer. And is everybody familiar with the A to Z database list and how to get there? Just let me know if you want me to, if I'm going too fast and you want me to go track back on how to get there. Anybody?
Can you show us? Sorry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I know from your course platform, you have access to the library portal, but when you're doing research for articles, I want you to start on the library homepage. So I'm going to put this in chat, and I highly recommend that you bookmark this link for quick and easy access. So if you scroll halfway down the page, under resources, we have this A to Z database list. And this is where you're going to find all the library's database subscriptions. And when I click on it, it takes me to this list here, and it's all listed out chronologically. We also have it by subject, so you can use this drop-down menu and just select the education databases. But since I'm going to Academic Writer, I just scroll down under the A's and click on Academic Writer. And that takes me to this home page here. So there are two ways in which you could do the annotated bibliography. And so with the annotated bibliography, you format your journal article according to APA like a reference list. And then underneath it, you're going to write a summary of what the article is about and any other instructions that your professor has given you to include in that summary. So what I'm going to do is go to reference. And one thing I want to point out is that to use the reference tab, you do need to create a personal account in Academic Writer. So the way you do that, so you're able to get into Academic Writer because it will verify your NU credentials. So if you're not logged in, a pop-up window will appear prompting you to log in, but that didn't appear for me because I'm already signed in. But up at the top right-hand corner where it says welcome, if you don't have a personal account, it won't have your name here like it does for me. But if you click on the arrow drop-down menu, instead of log out, it will say log in. And you click on that. And it will have up on blue, create an account. Now, sometimes if this does not appear, all I have to do is refresh the page. So if I click out of this and go back to the A to Z database list and click on Academic Writer, it should refresh it and create that option for me to create an account. So I'll let it load. And there it is. Okay, so you go to the welcome drop-down menu, click on login, and here it is in blue, create an account. So it's just a couple of fields that you want to put in to create your account. I recommend you use your NU email to create the personal account. And then once you create your account, you can log in. And now you can use the reference tab. So if I click on reference, it'll ask me to go to my references. So this is if I already have a list created. But if I don't have a list created, I'm going to go to add references and click on this green box here. So there are two ways to create references. You have the journal, you have your pre-made templates. So you have all these different sources of information. The most common is the journal article, where if I click on it, you're just going to fill out the boxes. And once you complete the boxes, you're going to click on add to my reference, and it will add it to your reference list. So once you do that, you can then go to my references, and that's where you'll find the list. Now, another way to do this is to click on search. And with search, all you do is you type in the title of the article. So I'm going to assume that this is the title of my article. And I'm going to click on search. And here it's found it for me because, as you can see, Academic Writer is linked to APA PsycInfo. So if the article can be found in this database, then you can also find it in Academic Writer. So to add this to my reference list, I'm going to check the box. And this box Add to My References appear, and I'm going to click on this. Okay, so I showed you all that to show you how to create your reference list. So now I have my reference list. So supposing I'm going to use this article and this one and this one. I check the box for the 3 articles that I want to include in my annotated bibliography. And I have this box here that says more. And if I click down on it, it says create annotated bibliography. So I'm going to click on create and just create annotated bibliography again. And it's going to ask you to create a title. So I'm just going to call it annotated bib, an original title there. You can always change the title later. So as you can see here, I have all the references that I've selected and I have my summary box. So this is where I can start to type in my summary about the article. And as you type it, you want to make sure that at the top right-hand corner, you're clicking save so that you're saving whatever you're writing. And the green box will verify if you successfully saved it. So once I finish typing the summary and I'm happy with it and I save it all, what I want to do is I want to go up at the top and choose formatting options for preview and export. So I'll click on this. And here I have the option to export it either as a Word document or as a PDF. So you can export it out and then email it or download it into the course platform, whichever you prefer. Now, supposing I'm writing, but I haven't finished and I want to go back to this, that's okay. What you could do is next time you log into Academic Writer and the home page, you're going to go up to the top where it says My File Cabinet, and you click on this, and then you're going to click on My Papers. And click on close. And as you can see, it's the very first option, the annotated bibliography that I created. So I just click on this title and I'm back to, and it takes me to this paper. Okay, let me show you how to get to the bibliography. Under Research Lab Books, click on this, and then click on Create an Annotated Bibliography. And it should take you back to what you already created. So it has your 3 references here and the gobbledygook that I wrote in the summary.
Ms. Laura, we have a job aid, so because I see the students are writing very feverishly to take notes, but we do have a job aid on this. And I also just want to point out one thing. There are a lot of citation managers that you can use, but this really gives you the format already pre-formatted. The APA format is the article, and then you also have that edit and word processing window that you can really start to formulate your ideas.
And you could also email me if you have any questions or if you forget something, because I know that was a lot of information to go through. So one thing I also want to mention is that when you're researching articles, and if it's a new topic that you haven't researched before, I recommend that you do some background research on your topic, because not only will it give you greater insight about the topic, but it will also build up your vocabulary list. So when you're searching for articles in the database, it's not an exact science. You have to play around with different words, because different words are going to give you different results. So you'll need to use a lot of synonyms. You can use a thesaurus. EBSCO will also suggest alternative terms that you can use. But one of the reference databases that I want to show you is called Credo. So supposing your topic is self-awareness for students. If I just type in self-awareness here and click on the magnifying glass, I need to refresh my page. Whenever you get an error message, the solution is always refreshing the page, I found, and it works wonders. A little tidbit there. So as you can see, it pulled up my results, and there are over 12,000. Now, you don't have to go through all 12,000. You can narrow down this results by using one of these filters. And if I click on more, I get 2 more filters here. So because we're in the field of education, I'm going to go to subjects, and I'm going to narrow it down to education. And so now it's 1,300. But as you can see here, they have teacher self-awareness and self-esteem and self-awareness. And if you click on one of them, like this, for example, it gives you a brief paragraph about the meaning, the origins. And then if you scroll even further down, there is further reading on the concept. So, you know, I'm talking about synonyms. So here's another term for self-awareness. Maybe it might be self-concept, you know. So play around with words is what I want to point out there. We also have a new resource called ProQuest Research Companion, which I'm just going to briefly introduce you to. Because if you're not sure about how to find reliable sources of information, I recommend using this ProQuest Research Companion, because we have a segment here on how to evaluate information. So here is several videos on how to evaluate sources. You can watch the video or you could read the transcript. Here's also another good one that you might need later on down the road, is how do I write a thesis statement? So just to make you aware of that. Another amazing resource I want to point out is Sage Research Methods. Now, these are all databases that we subscribe to, and you can find all of them under the A to Z database list. But Sage Research Method also has this project planner, and the project planners are a great tool to help you. This one is developing a researchable question, but there's also one about reviewing the literature, research design, research ethics. So all of these to help you put together a really solid research paper. One of the things I also want to point out in regards to action research, which you could also find in research methods, is we have what's called this methods map. And as you can see, it defines the term of action research, but it also shows you in a visual format with this Venn diagram. The umbrella under which action research falls under is applied research and qualitative data collection. But then also there are these sub-issues under action research that further define what it is. And you can click on each one, like supposing you want to do a participatory action research. You can click on this to get further information about what that is. So this is all if you like to delve further and get more clarity about each of these areas. Okay, the other thing I want to show you is that for social emotional learning, we have a LibGuide, and I'm gonna save this, copy this and put this link in chat so that if you want to, you can bookmark this link too. So you can just use this LibGuide and it will take you to the resources that I've shown you. One thing I want to point out here on the home page is that you have my direct email access if you just click on my name, and I'll put my email in chat as well. And then also, if you want to have a one-on-one Zoom consultation, if you're struggling to find articles relevant to your topic, you can schedule up to an hour of time with me just by clicking Library Research Skills Consultation. Fill out that form, put in as much detail as you already have about your research topic, and we'll go one-on-one and deep dive to find something that you can use for your research paper. So this is a great tool you could use if you get stuck and need a bit more help. If you're new to research, I highly recommend this box here, the learning aids for education students. These videos are all excellent guides on how to do education research and how to use the library. So it's a good refresher course, or if you're new to research, it would be a good idea to look at these videos. Okay, so next I want to go to the articles tab up at the top. And we have some great tips on how to do research in this tab here. We also have our recommended education databases in this tab too. So we recommend either EBSCO for educators or the ProQuest education database. And we also have underneath training materials on how to use each of these databases to get the most out of it. So I am going to take you into EBSCO because I want to show you a few features that you can use to get the most out of your research. So here it takes me to the basic research page, default page. And I recommend that instead of using this, you click on advanced search. And there are two reasons for this. First, it gives me these three search boxes. So when you are researching your question, you don't want to type out the entire question in one box. What you want to do is break your question apart and identify the key components. So I'm going to put a question in chat, and I just want you all to tell me what are the key components in this particular question. And it's going to be a very basic one. So in chat, just type out what are the key ideas or key concepts you would see in this question and how you would use it in this search box. One thing I also want to point out is with the advanced search, you're automatically put into the Boolean search operator. And what I mean about that is that your terms are connected by and or not. So these are the three Boolean operators. And is going to connect your two terms, and it's going to tell the computer to search for articles that have both of these terms together. Or is a synonym, and it's going to tell the computer to search for alternative terms. So this is really going to broaden your term. And then not is going to negate and take away terms that you don't want to see in the article. So this is one way to search for articles in a more succinct manner. Yeah, this is great. Teach self-awareness students. Yeah. Okay, perfect. You've all gotten the key idea of what the key concepts are. So I am going to run a search here. Before I do, can anybody tell me any synonyms for self-awareness? What are some other terms I could use? Because when I'm starting out, I want to get as broad a search as possible to begin with. So in chat, if you just tell me, oh, self-identity, that's a great one. Any other synonyms for self-awareness? Mindfulness, excellent. Self-concept, self-confidence, yes, yes. Those are all excellent ones. Now, as I'm typing in, you can see here that it is auto-populating what word I might be typing in. And I'm going to use this one, self-awareness and self-knowledge. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you're typing and it doesn't auto-populate, then you might want to use a different term, because that means that there are no articles with that particular phrase or terminology in there. So just to be aware, if it's not auto-populating what you're trying to type in, then it's not going to work. Now, for the second concept, I could type in students, but that's going to be very broad. I mean, what type of students? It could be college students, graduate students. So with this one, I might want to be a bit more specific. Yes, and also with SEL, I always recommend not to use abbreviations, but to spell out the words, because sometimes the computer will and sometimes it will not recognize the abbreviations, but it doesn't hurt to put both the spelled out word plus the abbreviation. So instead of students, which is pretty broad, I am going to actually choose a specific grade level, and I'm going to say, you know, I want to look at middle school students. And here it's giving me the synonym of middle school, junior high, 6th, 7th, or 8th. So if the articles have any one of these terms, it's going to pull into my results. And then I'm going to put in teaching. Now I could put teaching of. And if I wanted to get this exact phrase, I would put it in quotation marks, you know, and search and see what results I get. But I am actually going to do, instead of that, I am going to do teaching strategies or teaching methods. So as you can see, for each search box, I've used synonyms for the widest possible results I could get. And then each of these I've connected with the Boolean operator and. So now I'm just going to click on search to pull up my results, see what I get. Okay, so as you can see, even with the synonyms, that's a very low number. That's not many results at all. So I might want to go ahead and revise my results and make it a bit broader. And we'll go into that a bit later. But what I want to show you in the search results here is that you have these page options. So what I like to do is click on this, and I want to see the most possible results in one page. So I change the results per page from 10 to 50 and click apply. I also want to introduce you, if you haven't heard of the concept of permalink. So supposing I want to go back to the search results at a later date, but I don't want to remember the search query that I put in. Here where it says share, if I click on this drop-down link, it has use permalink. So this is the link that I actually want to copy and share. Copy and save, that will get me back to this page. If I use this link up here that I've highlighted in the URL bar, this is going to expire and it's not going to get me back to this page. So every time you want to use the permalink. Now, if you haven't used EBSCO before, I highly recommend that you create a personal account in EBSCO, and it will also prompt you to create a personal account if you haven't done already. And the reason why is, supposing, for example, I look at number 1, I say, yeah, this is an article I'll want to use, but I don't have time to read it right now. So what I could do is this blue folder icon with the plus sign. If I click on this and I choose my folder, this is now saved in my folder. So the next time I log back into EBSCO, up at the blue bar here, you have this folder option. And if I click on that, that is where I will find my article. So it's just a quick, convenient way, a time-saving way to save articles that you want to select. Now, supposing I want to refine my results because I just want peer-reviewed articles. On the left-hand side where it says refine results, if I scroll down to limit to, I can limit to peer-reviewed. Just by checking the box, it will limit my results to peer-reviewed. And then supposing I just want to go 10 years back, I can also change the year of publication by typing it in and clicking enter, and it's updating my results just for 10 years back. And then here is where I have my different source types. So there are 31 reports, 97 academic journals. So if I want my source type to be academic journals, I would check that box. And now it updates it, and I have only 97 articles to go through. Now, one thing I want to point out is, supposing number 2 is a great article for my topic, I really want it, but if you look down under subject headings, it says click to look for full text. So what that means is that we don't have it in this particular database, but we might have it in another database. So if I click on this link, it will tell me if I can find it somewhere else. Okay, so If it takes me to the catalog record as it has done here, it means that we don't have it. Now, if I scroll down, it says that we do have the print version, but we only have from 1993 to 2008. And if I look back at the article, you'll see the year of publication is 2020. So we don't have the year 2020 because if I go back, we only go up to 2008. So if that happens, the library has a free service called Interlibrary Loan. And all I need to do is scroll down where it says links and click on request article. You click on this and fill in the form, and we will get it for you free of charge from another library. Now, normally the lending library is pretty efficient. They give us a 24-hour turnaround, but just bear in mind that it could take up to 3 days. So be sure to give yourself plenty of time. And it doesn't have to be an article that you found in a database. Supposing you're using Google Scholar and you know that it's peer reviewed, then you can also use this to request us to get the full text for you. Now, you might wonder if it is peer reviewed. So we have a database called OULRIX. And if I go back to the A to Z database list and I click on U, sorry, not T, U, and I go to OULRIX, if I want to check and see if this is a peer-reviewed article, all I need to do is type in the name of the journal. So not the article, but the journal name in which the article is published, like Education Researcher, and click on search. It'll pull up my results. I click on the title of the journal where the article is being published. And here I want to look at where it says refereed. So refereed is just another term for peer reviewed. And the answer is yes. So any articles that I find in the Educational Researcher is going to be peer reviewed. So that's one way you can check to see if you have a peer reviewed article. But the easiest way is just to use EBSCO and check the box that says peer reviewed. And I don't want to keep you over, so I know I rushed through it a bit, but does anybody have any questions?
Benita, thank you so much. We have a recording of this instruction, and it was so packed with so much information. I always learn something new from you. Thank you so much. Did not know about OULRIX and did not know about Credo. And is there a mega database? Would EBSCO be like the preferred database to use?
It would be. EBSCO is multidisciplinary, so it covers a wide variety of topics, but we've collocated the Education Pacific collections within EBSCO, which is why for the field of education, we recommend using the EBSCO database for educators.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And that's all in our LibGuide.
It's all in your LibGuide, and there is a lot of information that I didn't even get to that is covered in this LibGuide, so I recommend definitely taking a look through it.
Okay, and is Benita available to us for one-to-one consultation? Yes or no?
Is that a question for me?
No, we know you are. We know you are. One-on-one consultations. And I tell you, it is a gift to have a research assistant, someone who can help us, guide us. I take advantage of it when I am putting together submissions for conferences and journal articles, and it really is a gift to have Benita and Barbara to assist us. And there's no question that is silly. Sometimes you struggle with a synonym and you can't find it. So a big round of applause for Benita.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say, if anybody has any questions about Academic Writer, I am doing an Academic Writer workshop. Sorry, let me go to September. On September the 6th. I know that's probably far out there for you, but here is the link in case anybody wants to deep dive into Academic Writer.
Okay.
So thank you so much for having me. And if there's no questions, feel free to email me. I do want to point out, Dr. Chandler, that Barbara is no longer an education librarian. She's gone part-time actually.
Okay.
So any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be your librarian until your librarian for now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Well,
Okay.
have a good night, everybody.
Well, I've given you all the option to either stay on and you can continue to ask some questions. I know that there's some clarifications that some of you wanted, and I do have the recording on, so you would just skip to the end of the recording to get the last word, the last words, some of the summaries and the conclusions and some of the takeaways that we have. So this is just the very beginning, and we have you conduct an annotated bibliography or search for articles, and this is a baby step to reach a review of literature stage. So this is the citation and the summary, the citation and the summary, and I will be sending you Ayanna Cohn's annotated bibliography as an exemplar for you to take a look at. It is a lot more manageable to write an annotated bib, but as you progress through the program, you will be expected by the third course, which is SEL 610, to have a review of literature where things are synthesized and you have some headings and you're looking at connections between the articles. You're not just listing the individual article itself. In the slide deck, there is an overview on both EBSCO and ProQuest. They are the top dogs of the database world. As part of my package that I'm going to be sending you and posting it, I'll be sending it, posting it in announcements. I'm going to give you a shortcut tip on how to use Google Scholar, and if you cannot find the full text available, you can copy the name of the title and put it right into that smart search opening search engine at the NU Library. So everyone needs to bookmark or add that URL to the NU Library. You can also get to it by looking at your portal. You should have a little square or oval that is called a chiclet, and you just click on the NU Library. In week 3, there's also a Boolean cheat sheet, citation manager, citation machine, and then there is the sample from Ayanna that I'm going to be sending all of you, and this is an exemplar. Because it's APA, you want to have a cover sheet. And she was considering practices and interventions to best develop social emotional learning in elementary school classrooms. And she was wanting to possibly study, I don't know if you can see this, let me make sure that you can, yes. She was possibly going to study trauma, because many of her students had transiency, parents who were drug abusers, and she later switched her topic, but I do want to let you know that there are examples, and that we are here to help you, and I hope that that was a great session for you all. And we're going to leave you with Imagine. And I love this video because it's John Lennon and Yoko Ono walking through a foggy forest. And we know that, we always will see clarity after we've seen the fog. So just remember that it might be a little foggy now, but it will become more clear to you as we move along. Okay, questions? Any
Of course
clarification?
I have one.
Pardon?
Yeah, I always have one. Just so I understand, you'll be sending us information in the announcements?
Yes, yes. And so you just click, make sure that you log in on a desktop because it's really hard to download some of those files on a cell phone or a
Laptop?
tablet, depending upon what kind of tablet you have. But what I'm owing you is obviously the slide deck. I am going to give you the list, of course, for the LibGuide that has been designed for our program. I will send you the annotated bibliography exemplar. There's a Boolean search tip guide. And there's also an academic writer handout. I didn't want to send it to you in advance because I didn't want you to be too overloaded with things. But, take them in small bites. You don't need to look at everything right now. You do not need to use Academic Writer, but it is a tool for you. Some of you are familiar with using an online saving mechanism like a folder. And Academic Writer really has a lot of writing tools built in to help you format mostly. Most of us format by doing a copy paste and then we put it into Word and then we adjust it or we put it in a Google Docs. So this is just one tool that we have available for you to use, and it's not required, but there are a lot of shortcuts and tips and tricks and aids that you could use, job aids that you can use to make your research conduct your research a little bit more smoothly. Okay, Sherry, what else? Gretchen, you've been quiet. Amy, you were my guide this time.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I think I am confused on when you send us stuff, where does that go? Do we get it from the Brightspace or does it go to our emails? I'm just a little confused on like where to find.
Yeah, it actually is supposed to go to both places.
Okay.
When I post an announcement in other learning management systems, you had to send it out as an email and an announcement. So this is what I sent about 2:52 p.m. today. This was welcome to week 3. It has what assignments are due. So it's really best that you log into Brightspace every day, ladies, okay? It's really going to make your life easier. You will have all the information that you need. There's the Zoom link. You can also get the Zoom link under the Zoom Learning Tools pull down.
Okay, and then my second thing was at the start of class today, you mentioned that we can sign up to meet with you on Saturday morning.
Yes, this Saturday morning, I will.
How do we do that?
I have a sign-up sheet, and I don't know what is available at this point, but I also have my Calendly link on every single email that I send to you. At the bottom, there should be my personal Zoom address as well as a Calendly, and that hooks right into my personal calendar or my professional calendar. I also have some personal things in there as well, but that is a way to get in touch with me. Let me see if I can see the announcements here. And every single one of your classes should have, this was follow-up week 2. Let me show this to you. No, I guess it doesn't have it. But there's lots of, okay, here it is. Okay, so this is published. It is an announcement, tinyurl.com Saturday coaching. This is my old announcement, but it should hook up to the new time slots. And let me make sure you can see this. And this is the 3rd Saturday of the month, but I also am available at other times of the week, just not on this third Saturday if I already have people signed up. So,
Okay, so wait, I think I'm still lost because I'm looking and I can't find. And so is there a link that you could put in the chat that we could get to your, or just, I
Sure.
don't know.
I think it's just a lot more confusing for us than it is maybe for the professors. The way that we see it as opposed to the way that they see it is different.
Yeah, I can't find it ever. I just don't know
It's
how
in the
to.
announcements. You have to scroll through the announcements.
Okay, so the announcements came, they were supposed to come today at 2:52. So that would have been on the, I would have gotten like an update. Okay, here it is. And if I look at today's announcements, I go down to where?
The very, very bottom.
Okay,
So if you scroll down on your main page of
sure. Oh, okay.
see
So
more, and then you
where
scroll
it
all
says
the way down.
yes, where we're open. So Thursday, 4 to 6.
That was last week. That was week 2.
Okay, sorry.
But that's also this week as well. So I'm available from 4 to 6. Drop in. You don't have to schedule an appointment. But I took the Saturday off just because there wasn't anyone showing up. So.
Okay, so I don't see that at the bottom. What is the matter with me? It's so strange. You say at the
Can
very
you screen share, Julie? Maybe show us.
Yeah, let me see. Oh God, I'm so not good at this.
Okay, let me switch over to student view and let me see if I can toggle it over so that it's more.
I'm sorry. I
Okay,
spend more hours looking for this stuff.
I know. And because, it's not a notebook, everything is digital and there's a pathway. Okay, so this was the announcement that came in. It should be at the top, depending upon how you have them arranged, because there are all kinds of arrangements that you can do with all of your content and how you read things. This is week 3. Join us tonight for a PLC and what's due. Do you see that here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And then of course and I don't want to say of course because that cannot be SEL language. That might not be interpreted as SEL language. I don't want to make any assumptions. If you click on content, this is where all of the information is about not only the program. This is static information here. Let me make sure that that's following me. Yes, it is. Static information about the program, resources. These are your action research planning documents.
Yeah.
And week 3, you know that it's pretty much structured the same each week.
Right.
With the assignments, so forth and so on, and then the discussion boards.
Okay, so tell me where, again, do you mind going back and showing me where I find the link to sign up for a meeting with you?
Okay, Calendly is not in the program. It's when I send emails. It's in my signature. But let me go ahead and I'll put that in one of the announcements for Calendly. But basically, it is, and I don't want to show you my email because that's the windows to my soul.
Okay.
Hold on a second, Julie.
Okay.
So on that very first page of Brightspace where it has the announcement from today, scroll down on that page on the announcements to the very, very bottom, and we'll say see more or show all announcements in blue.
Okay, hold on. I'm all over the place. Hold on, let me go there. So I go here. Continue.
And you know what? I do have a full slate this Saturday for the morning. So we might want to either go to one-on-one, and let me put my Calendly again. Or I'm sorry, that's my coaching, my Saturday coaching. That's a Google Doc that has time slots available. And I'll put my Calendly link in. And Julie, continue to look at all announcements and there should be an announcement that says,
and all announcements is on that first page.
yes.
Okay.
Did you find it, Julie?
I don't like, I'm seriously looking at it, and I get to the agenda, and then I have guiding questions, and then it says Thursday webinar.
Can I share my screen so I can show her?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing. Hold on.
I think you did already.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did.
Okay. Let me know that you can see it.
I can see it.
Awesome. So this is what it looks like for us, right? The announcements are right here.
Yeah.
Scroll all the way to the bottom. Show all announcements.
Okay.
Click that. And it pops up with all of the announcements. This is just how I've gotten there. And then at the very bottom of that is the calendar for the coaching. So if we go here, coaching right here.
Okay, Saturday coaching. Got it. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Let me go ahead and also put my Calendly link in the chat.
I think it's right here too.
It is. It is.
It's right where? Wait, okay.
It's also in announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah. So schedule a meeting.
And is that so that it's that calendar that would you like for on Thursday, for instance, that we have to sign up?
Oh no, Thursday is open office hours. All of your
got it.
Will have open office hours. Open office hours from 4 to 6. If you want to say, you know, I'm not going to be able to make it, but I will be able to make it if you know if you make an appointment with me for another time that would be more convenient.
Okay.
And this Saturday is the only Saturday that I can't meet with you because I have my third Saturday for all of the candidates in the program.
Okay. Got it.
All righty. So this concludes our time together